So welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Trish Murray, physician, author, and the Health Catalyst speaker. And I just want to thank everyone who's joined us and everyone who's registered, but maybe couldn't make it tonight, but will be listening to this later. This is so exciting for myself and the other 6 authors. All 7 of us are so excited for this new book, No More Band-Aids 2.0, Finding Answers in a Broken Medical System. And the whole point of tonight's webinar is to tell you about this amazing new book and have you meet the authors and hear about the different chapters. And I also want to thank all the authors for making the time to be here with us so that you can hear all about them. This is so exciting. So folks, first of all, this is our launch of this book. And the launch started yesterday, it is today, and it will be tomorrow. But of course, as we're going through this tonight, if you're intrigued by what you're hearing, and if you haven't already, then please make sure you purchase our digital version of the book tonight. And how you do that is you're going to go to the website address you see right on the top of this slide, NOURISH.REVIVE.THRIVE. And that will take you to the landing page to tell you all about the book. And then from there, you'll see a link right to Amazon where you can buy the digital Kindle version of the book. Now, please realize you do not need to have a Kindle to be able to buy the Kindle version, digital version of the book. You just go to Amazon and buy it, and you can download it to your cell phone, you can download it to your desktop, you can download it to your iPad, you know, all of these different things. So now, remember also this is, of course, is a collaborative book. That's why we're here. And you're going to hear tonight, and in the book, you'll read about things related to how to stay healthy and pain-free as you age. You're going to be reading about hormonal struggles and how people, the neat thing about this is that just about every single one of the authors probably will be talking about their personal life in some regard and how it led them down the path to learn more because they had difficulties with themselves or their family in order to heal. You're going to hear about the healing powers of essential oils. You're going to hear about an actual solution for your child's epilepsy, ADHD or ADD or hyperactivity. If your family and many generations are seeing patterns of illnesses on a regular basis, wait till you hear Dr. Sonza talk about this generational health and change your family's destiny. And also Luke is going to be talking about exercise when you don't have time. So folks, if any of this is intriguing you, just wait to hear the authors. But as you're listening, please check out NoMoreBandAidsBook.com, which is the landing page for the book. The other thing I want to make sure you're aware of is that the cost of this digital book right now during the launch is only 99 cents. But after you go to Amazon and you purchase the digital version for 99 cents, if you come back to the landing page, NoMoreBandAidsBook.com, and put in your information, you will therefore be able to access the actual more than $400 value of free gifts that we as the authors are giving you to say thank you for supporting this book and helping us educate and get the word out about the fact that as a human family, we've got to take a different approach to health. So with all that being said as an introduction, we're going to go through this in the order in which the chapters are in the book itself. So chapter 1, the title of the chapter is From Hyperactive to Winning in Life. And Dr. Chris Neveling, MD, is a leading expert in optimizing health the natural way, empowering hyperactive children to shine. He has consulted over 500,000 kids and delivered more than 1,000 babies since he graduated medical school in 1983. Dr. Chris is the founder of Power Kids MD, a best-selling author and international speaker, educating parents to equip their children to handle the root cause of hyperactivity and not fall victim to the broken medical system. So Dr. Chris Neveling, why don't you please unmute yourself and turn your camera on.
Yep, it's done.
Perfect. Come on and tell folks about yourself and your chapter.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Dr. Trish, and for having me on your webinar. Yeah, as it speaks for itself, that's what I've been doing, and my niche is particularly to help children with ADD and ADHD, which is a label. I call it hyperactivity because it includes a whole spectrum, and I'll show you a little bit now on my slides what it's all about.
It was just my body healing and getting the nourishment that it needs. I have gotten so much more energy and so much more enthusiastic about life. The willingness to wake up in the morning, there was a huge improvement in it, and I was very, very, very happy with that.
So if your kid's not focused and driving you bonkers because they do funny things like they're impulsive or they're forgetful, so they can be inattentive and also antisocial, don't want to play with the other kids, defiant, won't listen to what mom has to say, or just plain rude or obnoxious sometimes. They do what you want them to do when you don't want them to do it, and they can show off and do fancy tricks or throw little tantrums, and then you have to try and control them. Or sometimes they just crash, you're looking for them and they're out, or they just ignore you all the love you give to them. So the opposite here is when you get a remedy, then kids feel more focused, they understand what's going on, they have a routine, then follow the routines, they can achieve A+ in school, their marks are up suddenly, they're learning very well, and they are together with you and you spend some good time, they're much calmer, like they should be, and they can sit still and chat to you, and it's a bliss for mom who can take some time off. And now you have, of course, a power kid, which is kind of shining. So we developed a 3-system process to make power kids. The first step is to acknowledge. So your child is perfect because you are, it's like a mini me of you. And it's not your fault because nobody has ever told you or shown you the simple truths of what is really happening. There's 90 essential building blocks, and that's what the body is built of. And it needs it in the food, you know, if you want the body to work properly. Today, we cannot get all these minerals and vitamins from food. The soil is just depleted in many of the 19 essential nutrients. They're just missing. Why? Because there's mass farming and it causes plants to be sick and animals not to do well. So then in turn, they need to be crop sprayed and get artificial fertilizer just to try and make them grow. So how do you imagine your kid will do well with it if it doesn't even get the essential 16 minerals, the 16 vitamins the body desperately needs, the 12 amino acids, and the 3 fatty acids which make all the membranes of the cells? If any one of these things are missing, it will manifest with disease like ADD and ADHD or any other disease unless you immediately supplement the body with absolutely all these nutrients, all the 90 building stones. It cannot repair itself, and then your kid is basically starving when it's got ADD or ADHD. It's not got all the nutrients. So if they have symptoms like in ADD or ADHD, it's a sign of disaster in the making. It's signaling you that their little body is unable to maintain and repair. So ADD, attention deficit disorder, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, yeah, they're simply lacking essential building blocks. That's right. The right dose, the right ratio, the right quality, and it must be plant-based so the body can use this. Okay, the second step of our process is to discover how to fully recover. We all know the body has the innate ability. It can heal itself always. It's very intelligent if you allow it to. So what we need to do, look at the foods. The main bad thing is no gluten, because gluten, you know, don't ever have gluten again. It always irritates and then destroys the gut lining. And it damages the microbiome or the little bugs inside, and then subsequently you can't digest and absorb your nutrients properly from the food. If it further irritates the immune system, causing sensitivities, allergies throughout the whole body, and there are many gluten-free substitutes, so you don't have to be deprived. The next slide says progressively reduce sugar to natural sources like in fruits and vegetables. And the third thing, next slide, become more aware to ingest less toxins like the processed foods. And the dirty dozen, there's a lot of things that are crop sprayed, and you can Google them, the dirty dozen, the fruits and the vegetables, most crop sprayed. You want to avoid them. There's also, you microwave food, you use Teflon pans, water, microplastics in water, cleaning materials, personal products. These all keep causing extra damage over and above the daily wear and tear of the body. So it causes inflammation of your cells, And the body cannot manage unless you give it all the 90 essential nutrients. Then it can recover itself and be well. So the third step is design. Now we have to rebuild the mother and child relationship once we got this ADD and ADHD under control, because I coach you how to recover from a rough time that's behind you. And then we use awesome learning skills. It's a special course and training you go through. So not only the child can catch up with what it got behind, being a little not so well unfocused, but to also surpass all the learning that it's had before and knowledge and be a power kid. And then lastly, finally, your child needs to contribute to the family, and we show you how you can involve him, as it's his deep-seated urge, of most people to truly want to help others. So then he needs to help in the family, and that's his platform from where he tackles life and becomes very successful, the family. So I love to see you all shine again, and that's my purpose, to help you with this. Thank you very much.
Dr. Chris, that was awesome. Thank you so much for telling everybody about your chapter. And also, folks, this slide will show you that the very first gift, remember, if you go to NoMoreBandAidsBook.com, go over from there to Amazon and purchase the digital version of the book for only 99 cents. And then come back to the landing page, NoMoreBandAidsBook.com. You're going to get $400 worth of gifts. And you'll notice the very first one is First Aid for Kids, live online class valued at $197 from Dr. Chris. So thank you, Dr. Chris, for donating that to the gifts. And thank you so much for telling everybody about your chapter.
I'm delighted. Thank you.
So folks, I'm actually chapter 2 in the book, and my chapter is entitled The Missing Link to Healthy Aging. And my first slide is, rather than get into all the deep details about the fact that, yes, I hold 4 different medical specialties, and I was originally an internal medicine primary care doc and all those things. Many of the audience is actually from my tribe, and you know those things about me. And even if you don't know me, whether you know me or you don't, one thing that many people don't know is that I was once, at 29 years old, a contestant on the American Gladiators television show. And so that's what you're seeing the image of. Is on the left, I'm not the platinum blonde, okay, in the red sweatshirt. I'm the one on to her left looking out at the camera with the white t-shirt. And again, I'm 29 years old. Now why am I bringing this up tonight? I'm bringing it up because my chapter, The Missing Link to Healthy Aging, is about my journey in many ways to becoming a specialist in the connective tissue. You see, yes, I was on a Gladiators at 29, but if you go back to when I was 19, I was an elite athlete and I suffered an injury to the base of my spine. I suffered during a women's lacrosse event, a herniation of my spine that ended my elite athletic career in a split second. And I went to the traditional orthopedists and surgeons and medical doctors, and to be honest, they had no answer for me, and I was devastated. And I had to go out and learn for myself about diet, about exercise, about strengthening my body. And I found ways outside, if you will, of the traditional medical model to heal myself. And 10 years later, it did take a while, but yes, I became an elite athlete again, and I was selected to be on the American Gladiators at the age of 29. And it was a real lot of fun. It was my, few minutes of fame. So this chapter for me is talking about what I have learned through all of my medical training as an osteopath and my own injuries and healing my own injuries about a holistic system of the body, your connective tissue. Now, most people have heard of the connective tissue, the fascia. I even call it the fabric of life. But you don't realize that it surrounds every single thing in your body. It surrounds every muscle. It surrounds every organ. It surrounds your brain. Some of the thickest fascia surrounds your skull and your brain. It sections us off into our cranium, our thoracic area, our abdominal area. It is so important to our health. And the very first conference where all the scientists of the world that came together to share what we know about the fascia, folks, did not happen until 2007. That's not that many years ago. So this is a new area to much of science, and many medical doctors have not been trained very much in this avenue. So as you see on this slide, are there really 600 muscles? or really one muscle encased in 600 bags of fascia. Now, this is a holistic system, and folks, you're familiar with this system. If you look at this image, everybody out there probably has peeled a grapefruit or an orange. And you'll see that yes, the orange or the yellow skin, but right below it, you see the thick white material that you've all engaged with. Guess what? That's fascia. That's connective tissue. And as you see the inside, you also see that the orange or the grapefruit is sectioned off into sections. Like if a friend says to you, can I have a section of your grapefruit? You could say, sure, you peel one off and you give it to them. You've all done that before. What's sectioning it off? The white lines that you see cutting this into pieces of pizza is fascia. One more thing is look inside the slices of the pizza and you see these tiny little areas, like you see the pulp and you see that you know that that's where the juice is. But folks, that's even in tiny little bags. So fascia is a holistic system. It surrounds everything in every organism. It actually is called the master designer of the body and the organism. Every single organism has a fascial system. Now, why is my chapter called The Missing Link to Healthy Aging? And why is fascia the missing link to healthy aging? And this slide will help you understand. And I go over all of this in the chapter in even more detail. But basically, if you look at the left, you see a sponge. And that is a natural sponge from the ocean. And next to it is a magnified image of the fibers of fascia. Do they look kind of similar to each other? They do to me. And that's because fascia is very similar to a sponge. Now think about in the morning, if you go out into your kitchen, now first of all, when you get out of bed, you may feel stiff, you may have pain, you may not be able to stand up quite right, and you're bent over and you go out to the kitchen, and let's say you pick up the sponge on the side of your counter that's not been in the water. And if you try and bend it and ply it and move it, it doesn't bend, it's tight and it's dried up and it's brittle and it might tear, or it might have you might injure it, if you will, or tear it. Folks, our fascia, our fabric of life that surrounds everything in you is just like a sponge. So I go into in my chapter the fact that you first of all must hydrate it. And I talk about how, and make sure, of course, with water and how much. I also talk about the fact that if you now take a sponge and yes, you put it in a plate of water, it's going to start soaking up the water, right? But if you pick it up then and you squish it and you squeeze it and you stretch it and you twist it, and then you put it back in the water, what does it do? It soaks up even more water. We are the same. If you hydrate well and you move and you stretch and you exercise in gentle ways that I teach you exactly what to do in the chapter, then you will improve your pain, you will move better, and you will not be as tight. Your organs will function better, your blood will flow better, and you will age better. So folks, this is what my chapter is mostly all about. I also in the chapter challenge you, I give you a very exact, definitive exercise steps to do, and also talk about what things to eat, which many of the authors do to be optimally healthy and hydrate your fascia. But I challenge you to a 21-day challenge that if you do what's in the chapter for 21 days, you will most likely feel better. And then with the NoMoreBandAidsBook.com, you notice when you go to that landing page, I have a gift where I am gifting you a free 1-month membership to our Discover Health Movement membership, where we have 3 live classes online. You don't have to come here, you can do it all online, and you get all the recordings. The value for a month is there and given to you for free. So please make sure you go to NoMoreBandAidsBook.com and check that out and get your book and get your gifts. And now we're going to go on to chapter 3. Chapter 3 in the book is entitled A Journey to Finding the Cause of Seizures. KRISTA ZWEERS is a wife and mother of 3 boys, ages 18, 14, and 12. She is a certified holistic nutritionist and lifestyle specialist. She is a certified detox and cleanse specialist. She is a certified medical cannabis specialist and a healing seizures naturally advocate. KRISTA dedicates her professional work to helping people who suffer from seizures become seizure-free.
Great. Well, thank you for that awesome introduction, Dr. Trish. That was better than I could ever do. And thank you everyone for joining. This is, I think, great opportunity for us to talk about the book and our chapters, but for you all to learn some amazing tips and suggestions that we're all trying to throw out there to really help people be their own health advocates and take charge of their life. So my journey started years ago, longer than 7 years ago, probably closer to 10. All my boys around the ages of 18 months old developed seizures. The doctors assured me that this would probably pass over, that it was just febrile type fever related, but unfortunately, there were different situations and occasions that the kids would have seizures, and it continued on past their 5-year, past their 6-year, well into their 7 and even 10 years of their life. So as a stressed out parent who ended up reactivating their Epstein-Barr virus, developing Hashimoto's thyroiditis immune condition because of the stress, I ended up with adrenal fatigue and was exhausted, overweight, stressed out, and had to work on myself. But, I didn't really learn that until I reached out to a naturopathic doctor, actually a functional doctor like Dr. Trish, because I had gone to my neurologist and asked him if we could get one of our sons off medication. He told me that that was likely impossible. And the reason we wanted to get him off medication was he said to me to us that he wanted to hurt himself. He wanted to bang his head on the wall, and he felt like he was a weirdo. He also wanted to scratch his toenails in his flip-flops, and he didn't feel right. So I knew it was the medication. We asked the neurologist to get off, and the neurologist flat out refused and handed me a new prescription and laughed at the idea that nutrition could be at play when I questioned him about it. So as you can imagine, a mom who's dealing with kids, like in the picture with tonic-clonic type seizures, it's devastating. It's so stressful, and you really honestly never want to see it. But with all 3 kids having these type of seizures, I was desperate to find answers. With reaching out to a functional doctor, I was able to get help. We did some testing. We found out there was nutritional deficiencies like low magnesium, low vitamin D, zinc was low, glutathione was low. And then we did some food allergy testing, and we found out that there were, food sensitivities, intolerances to gluten, to dairy, to eggs, to beef, all kinds, even bananas. So we had all these things coming at us, and we had to learn how to be able to, juggle the information that was coming towards us. We never were told by the neurologist that, lack of sleep or stress or some of these causes of seizures were really maybe at play. And you don't often hear from neurologists that nutrition could be at play, that heavy metals or gluten sensitivity could be the cause of their seizures. Most of them want to just keep you on medication and try to remedy the situation like that. So what we did is we took the matters into our own hands, and I researched. We started with clean organic nutrition, really focusing on whole-based, nutrient-rich, plant-based foods, colorful foods, antioxidant-rich, leafy greens, berries, nuts, seeds, food from the earth that was intended for our bodies. I look at things like food as medicine, and it truly is, and it ignites the body's healing process. The body has an innate ability to heal if it is given the right nutrients, the right tools. But if you are dehydrated, stressed out, and eating packaged foods, frozen, some frozen foods, pre-made foods that are filled with artificial ingredients, dyes, preservatives, toxic chemicals and ingredients. You don't realize all that's in your food until you really start reading the labels and looking up these words and seeing how they can have effects on our health. And unfortunately, these AEDs, anti-epileptic drugs, also cause other symptoms and problems within our body. Some of them can make us be deficient and have an effect on our liver and kidneys. We never were told these kind of things when we were given these prescription drugs. So as a parent, I felt cheated. I felt misinformed. I was angry and I wanted to make change. So through holistic nutrition and lifestyle, I was really able to improve their health. And to be honest, within 30 days of changing our food habits, and I went through the cupboards and cleaned everything out. No more gluten, no more dairy. We switched to plant-based foods, no more packaged foods. They were all whole foods. And within 30 days, the teachers noticed the change. Their attention deficit went away, their attention improved, their social ability improved, and our kids became seizure-free. They're seizure-free for 7 years. Now, in my book, I list natural ways that you can achieve your health back, or where you can get back to homeostasis. Drinking water, exercising daily or 4 days a week, performing de-stressing techniques, meditation, yoga, breathing techniques, eating the colorful plant-based foods, avoiding packaged and refined foods, increasing your healthy fats to feed the brain, to heal the brain. This is huge. Avoiding environmental toxic exposures. When we did testing, we found out they had high levels of lead, arsenic, mercury. When we did heavy metal testing, these are directly linked to seizures, an increase in neurotoxicity. Avoiding chemicals and pesticides in food. I know it's so hard to do and you can't wash off the pesticides. When you bite into that apple, it needs to be nutrient rich from the soil, from the roots up through the plant. And then, performing cleanses and detoxification so that you can effectively remove these heavy metals and these toxins from your body. And then invest in prevention, invest in whole foods and tips that these doctors in this book are providing so that you can utilize the best medicine, natural medicine, to heal your body, to ignite that natural healing process that your body is innately designed to do. So we just have to figure out what is at play, what the root cause could be that's triggering our chronic conditions, our seizures, our gut disturbances, our sleep, our headaches. You pull away gluten, you pull away dairy, and you reduce inflammation. And when you start eating clean, you start feeling clean and you start getting your energy back and your sleep improves. And like kids like mine, they become seizure free. And now I'm helping other families to become seizure free too. And it's happening. So wow. There's hope. And that's what I want to give people is there's hope, but do the work, reach out to the natural doctors, holistic practitioners, functional medical doctors, doctors like Chris, doctors like Trish and Sonza, and
also nutritionists like yourself, KRISTA.
And like myself, because we do the hard work to uncover the root cause of your problems. And we really care about, creating a healing response. And remember, again, it's nomorebandaidsbook.com. My personal website is NOURISH.REVIVE.THRIVE.net. You can find me there. You can find me on Facebook with my Nourish Revive Facebook support groups. I have epilepsy awareness page to support with holistic approaches. So you can find me all over. And in the book, read my tips, and maybe we can get some of your kids seizure free.
And KRISTA, you're giving a gift?
I'm offering the first 10 people that sign up for the free gift, an hour complimentary consultation. And I've already had a few people sign up, but I do offer personal 30-minute complimentary consultations just to kind of see if I can help. If you have some disorders that you think I can help with, I know I probably can. So reach out to me and I'll provide that complimentary 30-minute consult if you're not the first 10 to claim your gift.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, KRISTA. That's awesome. Thanks you for sharing all of that. So we're going to move on to chapter 4, folks, with Dr. Julia Ward, MD. Chapter 4 is entitled Transforming Your Life, Healing Inflammation and Hormonal Imbalance. And I'm going to read your bio, Julia, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. So Dr. Julia Ward, MD, is a champion for the healthcare of busy, stressed out moms. Her own issues with hormonal imbalances and chronic fatigue spurred her to complete a study of functional medicine. This is a more holistic way of approaching health that looks for the root causes of symptoms rather than just treating a diagnosis with a prescription. As a working mom with 5 kids, she knows what it feels like to be overwhelmed with fatigue, stress, and other changes that happen with age. Dr. Ward has been able to bring balance to her own health as well as to the hundreds of patients she's worked with. She completed her fellowship with the Metabolic Medicine Institute, also known as the A4M, and continues to study with the Institute for Functional Medicine, the International Peptide Society, and a variety of other organizations and functional labs. She graduated medical school from the University of Southern California and has been practicing medicine for over 25 years. Thanks, Julia, for your chapter, and thanks for participating.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. So yeah, my journey to functional medicine really started with myself when I became extremely fatigued. I was about 45, 46 years old, and I just felt overwhelming fatigue. And I went to my GYN doctor to ask about hormones because I had actually, backing up a little bit, in high school, I had a chemistry teacher who was like a second mom to me. And when I was in medical school, I actually lived with her and her partner for a while. And I remember seeing them, watching them go through menopause. And there, at that point in time, so this was early 90s, there was really no options for them, at least none that I saw. You know, they just were told, you just have to deal with all the symptoms. And they had like every symptom. And I just thought, you know, I never want to go through that. So I started looking into bioidentical hormones. And when I asked my GYN doctor about it, she really blew me off, saying, oh, you know, there's really nothing to do. And I was sort of confused because that should be their specialty, you know, hormonal balance. I would think the GYNs would be all about that. But so I started researching it, and that's how I came across functional medicine. And what I found, besides learning all about bioidentical hormones, but what I found was how central our gut health is to our overall health. And that really has been a major focus of my practice over the last 6 years. So what I have here is a diagram of what we call leaky gut. And you can see on the left-hand side, the cells that line our intestinal tract all the way through are these single cell layer of epithelial cells. So normally the food that we swallow is broken down and absorbed and passed through into the blood. However, things like stress, medications, different types of food, infections can all cause inflammation of this gut lining, so that now we have these big gaps in between the cells. So now what we eat can go directly into the bloodstream. So this puts our immune system on high alert, and it will start attacking the foreign particles, but over a long period of time, it starts to attack our own cells. And for women, that tends to be the thyroid, but it can also be the joints. That's where arthritis is coming from, or other things like irritable bowel syndrome. There's a whole host of autoimmune disorders now. So, and again, the microbiome is really key and essential, that we have all the good bacteria in our large colon that is doing things like producing neurotransmitters and helping produce different essential vitamins as well. So the other thing that I, of course, talk about are the hormonal causes and what we're going through. So for menopause, one of the first hormones, so there's 3 sex hormones: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. One of the first ones that starts falling off the chart is progesterone. And when we have low progesterone, especially compared to the estrogen, we become estrogen dominant. And that's what you see in this first picture here, where the weight gain is mainly around the hips and the butt, versus somebody who's having a lot of stress. They have a lot of high cortisol. And so that's more of an adrenal picture. And you can see the adrenal picture has more weight gain right around the middle. So that's more stress related. And then people with underactive thyroids or hypothyroid condition, they will get sort of a weight gain all over. And then finally, fatty liver. You know, this looks like the pot belly or the beer belly that we normally will describe men having beer bellies. But again, that's sort of a fatty liver thing. And again, from a lot of bad diet. And I also wanted to mention too, again, just like everyone else has been saying, things that are very inflammatory to the gut and detrimental to our health are gluten, dairy, sugar, and soy. Those are like the big ones. So we always want to first try to find the underlying cause and then treat it with natural supplements or food if possible. The current system that we're in is very much oriented towards being on a number of different prescriptions. And really that's benefiting the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies, but is not benefiting us as a whole. So we really need to look and step outside the box, if you will, of our current healthcare system and do something different, because the current system, as you know, is just not working.
So that's
yeah.
awesome. I mean, that's amazing. And again, your chapter is Transforming Your Life, Healing Inflammation and Hormonal Imbalance.
Yes, and I have my free gift is the gluten-free Mediterranean diet that you can claim on the landing page.
Then here's that landing page, no more Band-Aids, book.com, folks. So
Yep.
Make sure you go to that. And again, you'll see on the top right there, gluten-free Mediterranean diet plan valued at $49. Dr. Ward is giving it to you for free. Just go hit the link to Amazon, buy for 99 cents the book in the digital version, and then come on back to the landing page, put in your information and claim these gifts. Folks, do it right now. If you're sitting listening and you're like, wow, this has been amazing already, then go on your cell phone, go on your iPad. If you're listening to this on your laptop, then go on some other device and go to the landing page right now, nomoorebandaidsbook.com. Thank you, Dr. Ward.
Thank you.
So in chapter 5, the healing power of essential oils, let me introduce you to Lorna DiMeo. Lorna is board certified clinical social worker and has been in private practice for over 35 years. Though traditionally trained, she has traveled the globe, bringing back to her clients ancient wisdom and practices focused on healing the body as a whole. She uses a wide range of healing tools and has added the power and magic of essential oils to her practice. So Lorna, if you could unmute and turn your camera on and come on over and tell folks about yourself and about the healing power of essential oils. I think you had your camera on there, Lorna, a second ago, so just click the video camera. Yeah, there you go, we see you now, and then just go ahead and start talking. Perfect.
Hi, everyone. So essential oils are concentrated liquids derived from plants that have healing or medicinal properties. They've been used for thousands and thousands of years. In ancient Egypt, they were used. The priests there were considered physicians as well as perfumers. And so the fragrance present in the essential oils has a wide range of applications. So the next time you have a headache, try this. Instead of grabbing a Tylenol, have some salt to restore your mineral balance and grab the lavender oil. You could diffuse it in your room or apply it topically. Chances are you'll feel so much better without any negative side effects. Another use for lavender oil is if you're very anxious, and most people are today. There's so much anxiety of the world because of what's happening. Take some lavender oil and some rose oil and combine it and just rub your hands together, and you'll just smell, and that will just melt the anxiety away. So I put together Essential Oils First Aid Kit. because I thought it would be useful to have this around your house. Now, I've already spoken about the lavender oil, which seems to be the basic oil in every kit. It's very, very widely used, lavender oil is. What's important is that you make sure your oils are pure. A lot of the oils that are sold today that are very inexpensive, you know, you can get them at Walmart or CVS or whatever, have synthetics in the oil. And that's going to make a big difference, because you don't want those synthetics getting into your body, either through your skin or if you're inhaling, and some of them are ingestibles, the essential oils, such as the ones I have on, except tea tree. Tea tree is not ingestible. So you have to be very, very careful when you're selecting your oils. So ginger is amazing for digestion, as well as relieving bloating and constipation. And with the 4th of July coming up, and with many of us eating things that we haven't eaten for a while, it's good to have the ginger on hand. Peppermint is great if your energy is flagging. I will take it and just sniff it, and it just like, woo, just really wakes me up. The combination of frankincense and lavender is really good for allergies. You'd put a drop of each on your hand, rub your hands together, and inhale, and this will relieve your itchy eyes and throat. Sage oil mixed with a carrier oil, such as coconut oil, and why we use that combination of oils is because if you put sage just on your body, it can cause a rash if you don't have a carrier oil. It is really amazing for sunburn, or if you've hit yourself on the stove and burned yourself. I had a very bad burn a few years ago when I was in the Caribbean. I was really foolish. And so one of the guys there actually had a combination of sage and oils and rubbed it all over us. Let me tell you, that burn was gone within a couple of hours. It just turned a nice brown, and I usually don't brown, I usually go red. Also, use frankincense to minimize any scar tissue if you've burnt yourself. Tea tree oil in a diffuser will detoxify your home and body. And again, with the COVID-19, we're looking for natural ways, not, spraying Lysol in the air, but use a diffuser with tea tree oil, and that will make a big difference in your home. What I did not add was citronella oil, which is really useful if you're going to be out with the mosquitoes or the bugs, especially with the 4th of July coming up. And if you're very tense and want to relax, rub some valerian root on your feet and massage the bottoms of your feet. You will find that will make a really huge difference.
So Lorna, you go over all this in your chapter, I assume.
And many more. I have
awesome.
A list of things, and so many things, how to make shampoo, how to, strengthen your cuticles. I have a whole beauty section. So, I mean, there's so much in the oils. It was hard to know what to choose. But I really would like to tell you the story of Suzie, because it really hit home for me with my granddaughter. So a family's world often falls apart when their child, who seems so normal at birth, is diagnosed with autism. The only treatment is medication that has numerous side effects, which includes stunting the child's growth. There are now essential oils that are specifically formulated for children on the autistic spectrum. One such formulation is called Reconnect. So this is Suzie's story. Suzie had been diagnosed with autism at 5, and her mother, Margaret, had tried everything available to her in the medical world to treat her daughter, but nothing seemed to help her. One day, a friend recommended she try essential oils. Since they don't have any harmful side effects, Margaret thought, what the heck? What did she have to lose? So she tried them. At first, she tried Valor, which is a blend of oils, and Suzie had almost an immediate positive response. After a few months in a combination of oils and specific nutritional supplements that other people here have talked about, Suzie's mother noticed a remarkable change in her behavior and her ability to express herself, which had been a problem her whole life before. Suzie is now a happy little girl like any other child her age. Margaret had her daughter back and finally got peace at home, something she had given up on. Just imagine how happy she was. Now, my granddaughter was diagnosed with ADHD and a whole bunch of other things. And she was tough to be with. I mean, I love her dearly, but she was a little oppositional and stubborn and would get angry and whatever. So I said to myself, okay, self, let's try her on oils. So I got her a package of oils that were specifically designed for a child that had these kind of problems. So I thought for sure that she would fight me tooth and nail. But when I went to her and I said, look, Ella, I have these oils that are just for you. These are very special oils. And so we looked at them, we looked at the packages. There were 4 oils. There were very specific instructions about what they did. And she said, okay, Grandma, let me go upstairs and try this Sleep Ease. And I said to myself, okay, well, that was an easy thing to do. So she came downstairs and she said she had done it all. And then when we looked through them again, I said, why don't we try the Reconnect? Because that was something that would help both sides of her brain. That's how that oil was blended. So she did. And the next morning, I actually had to wake her up because I was getting ready to leave. Now, this kid does not sleep well. I mean, she slept like a log. Wow. And when she got up and came downstairs, she said, how can I help you, Grandma? What can I do for you? I said to myself, wow, this is the first time that she hasn't fought me. Her no is her favorite word, hasn't said no, and actually offered to help. So, it's been such a change in my family. And it's, I just want all children to have this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Lorna, thank you so much for sharing that. That's just amazing. It's such a wonderful thing. So folks, whether you're concerned for your children, whether you're 10, whether you're 25, whether you're 55, whether you're 75 or older, this book is going to give you information to help yourself, your children, your entire family. Let's talk about thank you, Lorna. Let's talk about the next chapter, chapter 6, entitled Generational Health Starts With You. And this is written by Dr. Sonza Curtis. Dr. Sonza Curtis was influenced from her lineage of healers, herbalists, and midwives. After practicing as a physician assistant for over a decade and the passing of her father, she started searching for the root cause of her heart disease. She was tired of taking and giving a pill for every ill. Therefore, this led her to pursuing a doctorate in naturopathic medicine, followed by certification with the Institute for Functional Medicine. 3D Wellness was founded in 2014, focusing on autoimmune disorders. Let's discover your innate ability to achieve optimal health by treating the whole person. Welcome, Dr. Sonza.
Welcome, and thank you, Trish, and thanks for all the other authors. Everything's been great, and thanks for everybody that's joining. So yes, it's interesting because I often say that natural medicine found me. My great-grandmother was an herbalist and a midwife, and I can remember growing up, my dad was in the military, and we would always go down south, and my grandmother would line us up and give us these nasty remedies, and we were detoxing, but I had no idea that's what it was called at that time. I wish I had the knowledge that they had then, but they didn't have the science behind it. So and it just kind of came around, and then I started having cardiovascular issues. I was diagnosed with hypertension at 17 years of age. I was running for a track, and I was not heavy, skinny, buck 05, and got dizzy one day and got pulled off. Because of my dad's being in the military, I had been to like 3 different high schools in 4 years. So this was my chance to get a scholarship. And I missed that chance of getting the scholarship because I was sick. I was pulled off the team because I had high blood pressure and I passed out. So that really kind of came full circle that I decided I wanted to do something in medicine, and also looking at my grandmother. I can remember my grandmother before the industrial time, she gave us all of this. But when they came out with Wonder Bread and all those good things that she had, that you could get from the store, her health started declining. And I can remember her taking like a box full of medicine, pill box that I would get from her closet, and she would just give it to her right before she died. And that was just sad. But I honestly believe she had autoimmune disease come full circle with my daughter. When she was pregnant with my granddaughter, she started having issues. But let's back up. About 4 years prior to that, she started having symptoms. And I didn't know what to do. At that time, I was a naturopath and a doctor, and a PA. And she started having oral allergy syndrome. She started having hives. She was fatigued, panic attacks, couldn't understand what was really going on with her. And it wasn't until she got pregnant and the doctor said her TSH is fine. It was 3.7. It's normal. Okay. But when we did further testing, found out she had Hashimoto's, and that was the root cause. And so they had told her that she was allergic to ibuprofen, and she was going to have to take Zyrtec the rest of her life. You don't want to take Zyrtec while you're pregnant. So therefore, when we came around, we took off gluten. At that point she's pregnant, so there's nothing else I can do, right? So we took off gluten, and one of her antibodies resolved. We did a food sensitivity test, and at that time, her antibodies was only 1 point. The other one was only 1 point above the normal range. And she now is my patient advocate in my office, and she's totally living her life healthy. My granddaughter's healthy. And I always tell people that what happens in the gut does not stay in the gut. So 75 to 85% of immunity is in your gut, as well as 75% of neurotransmitters. So I always start with the gut with my patients because I believe that's the foundation. And I think Dr. Ward and others have already said that, so I won't bore you with this. But the main thing is, the things that it can cause, like hormone imbalances, if you're toxins. Stress is the biggest thing in my practice. When I look at autoimmune, it's self-hating. So usually your body is fighting itself. So I focus on just emotional distress, traumas, adverse childhood events, those type of things I focus on. I find the very commonality between those and autoimmunity. So I have patients do a 21-day gut challenge, and I hate to say diet, because I always tell my patients the first three letters in diet is die. So what we want to do is we have a lifestyle. And so I have them remove the bad foods. I call it the food exchange. So you remove the bad foods in exchange for nutrient dense foods. And then, like people have said earlier, Dr. Ward and the rest, gluten, dairy, sugar, corn, and I also put soy in there, soy. And then you want to place digestion, because digestion, as we get older, we lose our ability to digest. And then when we cook our foods, we cook that enzymatic property out. So you want to aid your digestion. And it kind of all depends on where your gut is. And then we re-inoculate with probiotics. Some people can take natural things, such as kombucha and probiotics, and then the kefir. And then you want to repair with gut lining. So I usually give them a series of L-glutamine, aloe, something kind of heal the gut. And then healthy lifestyle. People, the biggest thing is sleep. And most of my patients come in, they don't sleep. If you don't sleep, your body doesn't go into that reparative where you can't repair itself. And it's like you're fighting against itself. So I just teach people, again, like everybody has said, how to tap into their innate ability for their body to heal itself. And I also give a 15-minute free discovery call. So I didn't have the gift there, but I give all my, I want to see if I'm the right fit for you. So we give, and and I'm the right fit for you. And so we give everybody a 15-minute free consult for that as well.
Dr. Sonza, how do they look into that?
3dwellness.com. You can find me on Instagram as well, and that's 3D_wellness_GA. And if you go to 3D Wellness and fill out a 15-minute discovery call, we'll get back to you.
That's awesome, Dr. Sonza. Thank you so much. It's such music to my ears. my patients that are out there listening are saying, wow, that sounds an awful lot like Dr. Trish. So, and we're both certified in functional medicine. So folks, you're hearing from the choir here. So thank you so much. I feel like, we're preaching this stuff individually so much. It's so nice to hear somebody else talking about it and have my folks, your folks, everybody's folks realize, wow, this really is the way to go. Thank you so much. So again, folks, nomorebandaidsbook.com. If you're being intrigued by the things you've heard, the different avenues for essential oils and working with your children and aging better, hormonal issues. Folks, I read on Facebook yesterday, one of my tribe has been reading the book, and she wrote on Facebook and said, I wish I knew, she's probably in her 60s or 70s, and said, I am so glad I'm reading this book. I wish I knew it when I was younger and raising my kids. Folks, don't wait. Get this information. Pass it on to your children so that you don't have to have the generational health starts with you, just like Dr. Sonza was just saying in her chapters all about. So folks, chapter 7, and absolutely last but not least, is chapter 7, Freedom in Fitness. Luke Wade is an international fitness consultant. He is also a second-year TCU MBA student based in Fort Worth, Texas. Luke has helped a multitude of driven women achieve and maintain their fitness goals. Client success is his #1 priority. Luke's psychology and nutrition university education, as well as years in physical therapy, give him an edge in enhancing his clients' results, not only through the psyche and fine-tuned dietary interventions, but also for post-rehab clients returning from injury. He has especially found this to be the case with professional women. Luke's mission is to leave widespread, lasting impact through 24/7 encouragement, inspiration, longevity, and authenticity. So Luke, if you could come on, and I also heard from folks that have already bought the book, you already had a new client reach out to you. So that's awesome. So come on and tell folks about yourself and about your chapter.
Hey everyone, hi Trish. Thank you so much for having me out on here today. So a little bit about my background. Some of you know a little bit more about my story. I've been working in the health and wellness space for about 4 years, and I came back into the industry actually New Year's Day of 2019. I signed my first client back into the training space, and I noticed a pattern because she was my very first one to come back, and I noticed a pattern over time. The more and more consultations that I had with potential clients and the more clients that signed on, is that I noticed this ongoing story in battle against time from these same women that were wanting training. Because if you think about it, for them, their normal day consisted of, they were juggling the responsibilities that they had at work. A lot of them were working overtime, 50+ hours, while also having the responsibility of having to take care of the kids. And a lot of them were actually the primary breadwinners of their family, providing the most for them or being the only source of income. And, they've got 110% expected of them 100% of the time. And they got to the point where they had pushed their own health and wellness to the side because it had taken so much of their time to make sure that their family and their friends and everyone that they loved were okay, to the point where they had jeopardized their own health, and it added up to the point where they didn't really know what to do about it. And I found a calling to really help with that, because this has been the audience that has been the most loyal and receptive to my approach, because it's not just about building your body and that being the only thing. It's about, how do you approach it holistically? How do you look at a person and really get to, I love the way that everyone else has said it, get to the root cause of what is really the problem. And, a lot of it is the psychology behind it. It's like the belief of thinking that you're not going to be able to come back from where you are right now. And I think with having been in a place like that myself, and some of you know more about my personal story, I'm not going to go into that here, but I know what that feels like. So being able to have that effect and change those belief systems, and I think a little bit of that comes with my psychology and just really wanting to help people in that way as well. You're really taking them on it's a life-changing experience. I'm all about the experience in my work and being able to shift those belief systems and get them going on the path that I have them start on first physically, because I love the way also that you guys had mentioned, a lot of you, that exercise is medicine, food is medicine. I mean, it couldn't be more true. And being able to help my clients through these avenues has been amazing. And I actually go through in my chapter, step by step, how I give an example of one of my clients that has been with me now for a little bit over a year. In the way that I do my training is, you do one exercise after another, constantly keep that heart rate up. And that has seen, I've seen the best results from that in my clients. And I also provide, I meant to mention this at the beginning. I go into a story about one of my very first clients, KRISTA, who fits the same exact mold back whenever I was 22, working in Baylor University Campus Rec as an undergrad student, personal trainer. And it was really interesting to really notice a few months back into the space how there, it was like I saw KRISTA in everybody. Whenever I reflected on it, it's like, okay, this is like KRISTA, because she herself had all these same problems where she was having some personal issues with family, but she wanted to do her best to be that rock that they needed in that turmoil. And it was great to have that experience in some form or fashion, helping her on her path to pursue the best version of herself, which I'm also now helping women do, even outside of the United States. I've got clients even outside the US right now that I'm helping with that. So anyway, it's been awesome to really help, use the kind of things that we have now today to help on a larger scale there. But Fort Worth is where I'm primarily based. So I do sessions mostly virtually now, but I do some VIP in-person training as well. So if this is anything that you feel like you'd be interested in doing, or someone that could benefit from anything that I've said in my chapter or have said here, check out my website. It's lukeliftup.com, and you'll find a little bit of information on my services, myself, and what I can do to best support you, as I hope that I can if you are interested in something similar to this.
Luke, thank you so much, because of course, again, busy women just don't have I hear that all the time, I don't have time to exercise. Well, you can exercise now and stay healthy, or you can, pay now or pay later kind of thing,
Right. It's all about efficiency, because, and that's, I meant to mention that earlier, because it's not necessarily not having any time. It's just about the efficiency, because there's this misconception of you have to go to the gym and you have to be there for at least an hour to really get much done. But it's about what are you doing within that amount of time that you have. And, you can have a client. I've got clients that we only go 30 minutes sometimes, and it's more, it's even more than a lot of people get done in just like a whole hour. So it's just about working smarter and not necessarily harder. So that's been really a great way that I've been able to see the results in that approach.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Luke. And thank you, everyone, because that's chapter 7. That's the book. So, folks, you've had the opportunity here to meet the authors and to find out more about No More Band-Aids 2.0, Finding Answers in the Broken Medical System. And if you've tweaked your interest, then please make sure you go to nomorebandaidsbook.com and claim your free Amazon launch gifts worth over $400. And click that link to go get your digital book and put in your order number when you come back. Thank you, all the authors. Thank you, everyone that's come. I am so blessed with a staff that is amazing to be able to make this happen, and to be able to get this, all the authors and all my staff that have helped get the social media message out about this book. Thank you so much. And everybody, we need to support each other. So please make sure you go out and buy the book. Make us a bestseller, but more than that, spread the word. Make sure everyone out there can learn what you've learned about tonight and learn more and more and more, because you can take control of your health and transform your life. Every single one of these authors has, and I'm sure many of you have learned from these authors already because you're part of either my tribe or their tribe. And just keep helping each other, folks, because we're all the human family and we just need to learn how to live it better. So thanks everybody for coming. Thanks all the authors, and we'll see you on the next book.